Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where Karen plays a stupid game and wins a broken arm. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community. And now, without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. No touchy please. Quick background. I have pretty bad social anxiety and PTSD. I'm a woman and men that I don't know terrify me due to some pretty significant trauma. There is a grocery store near my house that I had been shopping at once a week for a couple years, always with someone, so I feel safer. I have been slowly taking a trip or two by myself as I work to be able to be a tad more independent. Whenever I shop alone, I wear headphones and a few of the associates and a couple managers know me, so I will occasionally stop to shyly speak to them. I'm really trying to become social again. Anyways, I was talking to an associate about some kind of cake they were going to make for July 4th. A customer comes up and began to rudely ask me where something was. I looked at him like a deer in headlights and the employee took over and helped him while I scurried away. I thought that was the end of that. It wasn't. A part of what happened next was relayed to me from a cashier that saw it. Apparently, the guy came up behind me and started arguing with the back of my head that I should not walk away from customers, that I was rude, that he would have my job, you know, basic entitled stuff. I did not really hear any of it because of my headphones and I had them cranked pretty high. When suddenly, the man grabbed me by the shoulder and spun me around. All I saw was a strange man who had grabbed me and I let out the loudest ear-piercing scream that I could produce that came all the way from my frickin' toes. He immediately let go and staggered backwards and kept opening and closing his mouth like a fish while I continued to scream. The cashier that saw it all ran over to me while the manager and stock boys grabbed the guy and got him away. The whole time he was just stammering over and over that he thought I was an employee while they kindly showed him the door. The employees wear black slacks and green polos with black aprons. I was in flip-flops, jean shorts and a hot pink tank top. I just don't understand why some people think it's okay to put their hands on others. I would like to think maybe that taught him some kind of lesson, but I severely doubt it. May his ears ring every time he shops. If you can guess correctly what kind of shop it was, then you get a cookie from me. Small hint, it's a shop that was mentioned already a few videos prior. But now let's continue. Thank you for the new phone and a limp. A while ago, while I was in my break from the retail store that I work at, I was shopping in the electronics store directly next to the store I work at. I was wearing the store uniform, which is a very distinctive red and khaki with a jacket on top, as well as my name tag, which very clearly states what store I work at. Anyways, enter crazy mom and her 4 kids. I hear this piercing whistle from behind me a few times, so I looked over my shoulder because damn, it was loud. And this lady is barreling towards me with her kids in tow. As I turned to her to see what all the hustle and whistling was about, she grabbed my wrist and knocked my phone out of my hand. I then look down and can see glass shards everywhere as the phone is smashed to hell. So I give her the classic, "What the F, lady?" To which she responded by hysterically screaming,
"Employees should not be texting while working. You should be ashamed of keeping me waiting because you were texting."
I then turned away and she kicked my ankle as I walked away. I tripped, sprained my ankle, face planted and nailed my shoulder on the shelving. Her kids started laughing and pointing. About this point was when an employee arrived and was able to help me up and see if I was okay. Now she finally thinks for a second and a whole new look came over her face as she realized that I don't work at this store in the first place. Then another new look as I told the employee to call the police. She started pleading with me that it was just a mistake and that she was just having a bad day. Long story short, she was arrested on assault charges and eventually had to first replace my phone, second was given 350 hours community service, third I was awarded a decent sum of money, and my personal favorite is that she has to pay for and attend therapy sessions for the next 3 years on account of her rage issues. You know, I would probably never wish any kid to see their mom or dad pleading not to be arrested, but maybe that was just a lesson they needed to learn. If you have watched the video until here, please don't forget to give me some stars in the comments and like the video if you want to support me. Since YouTube is kind of giving me a hard time right now, all the support is more appreciated than ever. But now let's continue. Finally got to tell a customer what we had all been thinking. A while back I was a server/bartender at an upscale restaurant, was dating another bartender and was good friends with 2 of the managers. The owner was a pompous ass but had 2 locations, but almost never was at my location. The other one was in the trendy part of town, so of course he had to be seen there. We had this one lady who loved to come to the bar. She would tell anyone and everyone working that she was friends with the owner, actually true, and used that to treat everyone like crap, snapping fingers, calling out,
"Hey you, I need another drink."
All while bragging about the car she drove, the presents that her boyfriend would give her. Since she was actually friends with the owner, we just took it. We knew she would get most, if not all, her tab comped and not tip, so we just shuddered when she walked in. She had 2 steady boyfriends and a third that seemed to rotate. She was good looking if you like fake parts. We called her the entitled Karen. When she was with a boyfriend, she was only a bit horrible, but when she was alone, she would get really drunk and piss off other patrons or hit on the older men to the point they would leave, affecting your tips all night. It's one thing if I know it's just one tab I'm getting screwed on, another thing entirely when you affect my whole night. Fast forward about 8 months. I left the job to go back to school full time, but my girlfriend is still bartending there and I would go in frequently to have a meal on the cheap and a free beer or 2. One of these nights she shows up. Lady snaps at my girlfriend.
"I need another wine, quick!"
Girlfriend, who's taking another customer's food order, "I will be right there in a minute." Lady looks at me.
You work here, get me a drink."
Me, watching the game on TV and eating my dinner, ignores her. Lady gets in my face.
"You, I was talking to you, get me my drink."
Me, "Ma'am, I don't work here anymore." Lady,
"Yes you do, I see you working here all the time, get me my drink. Don't you know who I am? I know the owner."
I look at my girlfriend and give her a little smirk as if to say, "May I?" and she nods back. I did not want to get her in trouble, but the friendly manager was working that night and the owner was nowhere to be found. The stars had aligned. Me, "I don't work here, and since I don't, let me tell you what everyone who does work here thinks of you. You are the singularly most obnoxious guest that walks through these doors. We call you the entitled Karen behind your back. You're a drunk, a gold digger and fake from head to toe. We count down the minutes until you leave." I turn to the boyfriend that's with her that night. You know she has at least 2 other boyfriends, right? Apparently no one has ever talked to her like this before and her jaw is on the floor. You can see the hamster wheels spinning in her tiny brain, knowing the crap show I have started, sit back and take a long drink of my beer and prepare to get reamed out. But before she can start, her boyfriend goes, "What?" Apparently he did not know about the other boyfriends. So what I thought was going to be a rant-filled ass chewing coming my way turned completely 180 on her. He starts going off on her and the restaurant is dead silent, listening to him ream her out. How could she be sleeping around after all he has done for her? Cars, condos, presents, after all that, she was effing around on him. He storms out and she runs after him. That was one of the sweetest beers of my life. After story, of course, she called the owner and complained about me, but he confirmed I no longer worked there. My girlfriend got written up for allowing me to talk like that, but she never came back to that location. I was banned by the owner, but since he rarely was in, I still got to hang out with my girlfriend and manager friend. But damn, that owner sounds like an a-hole. Writing up OP's girlfriend and then banning OP? Damn. Karen plays a stupid game and wins a broken arm. Not my story, but I saw it. My buddy B is breathing martial arts. Some people love cars, some people love biking. He collects martial art forms like people used to collect Beanie Babies. The word obsessed would be aptly applied. At the world of Wall-E, our wandering protagonists were picking up some beer and pork rinds. B was wearing a blue muscle shirt with a full sleeve underlayer and black baggy surfer shorts. While scanning the selection of beers to rent, the desired brand was spotted but was trapped behind a pallet jack that had a few cases of something or other on it, left behind by one of the employees for some reason or another. Wanting to liberate the libations, B started to push it a few feet down the aisle so he could free the poor, trapped beverages from the shelf. Down the aisle came she. She was wearing a loose, flowing pantsuit type thing. I don't know what they are called, but it's a one-piece outfit with the fabric kind of loose and billowy around the legs, so even though they are individual legs, they kinda look like a dress when they move around. I remember the white belt with the large silver buckle, the shoes that are high heels but not with the skinny stiletto heel thing, but the heel column is a lot thicker and made a loud clomping sound as they purposely hit the floor. And the pearls. I've never seen anybody wearing pearls at a Wall-E world who was pleasant to deal with, but there they were. The Wicked Witch equivalent of a snake's rattle, a coral snake's stripes or a porcupine's quills. She had seen B pushing the jack filled with boxed, made the requisite connection to open her mouth before engaging her brain, and so the fun began.
You, worker, I need a few more things for my garden party. You can come back to this later. Come find what I need.
B could be surly when he felt like it, and right now he felt like it. Her harassment was delaying his drinking time and he was not in the mood. I don't know what your problem is, lady, but I'm not your servant. She did not like this. Face quickly turning red with anger, she strode into his personal space and poked him squarely in the chest 3 times in rapid succession.
You will not address me as lady. I will not be treated badly by the likes of you. Now come with me, I will talk with your manager later. If you perform to my satisfaction, I might even let you keep your job.
B mutters, whatever, as he turns away from her and takes a step or 2 down the aisle.
How dare you!
Came the outburst. She reached forward and grabbed his shoulder forcefully, and I could see her nails digging through the thin underlayer and probably cutting into his skin below. With the face of a defensive guard who moonlights as a ballerina, I saw him twist his shoulders and do a kind of side thrust motion with his hips, and over his shoulder she went. It was a thing of beauty, clearly an instinctive reaction from being grabbed with pain induced. She landed hard with her arm, smacking the boxes still stacked on the pallet jack nearby. She screamed an incoherent mix of a steam whistle and a drunk frat boy whistling at a concert. She lay there on the floor, clutching her arm. Running up came 2 guys, managers I assumed, demanding to know what happened. B stood there glowering at his assailant on the floor, who continues to make sounds that did not resemble speech. I stepped up and volunteered my observation. This lady demanded that he follow her around the store, poked him in the chest when he refused. He turned away from her, she grabbed his shoulder from behind, and the next thing I knew, she was on the floor. You could see some small fingernail-shaped tears on his underlayer. I found out later that there was some minor skin cuts and a drop or 2 of blood from where she scratched him. One of the people must have had a radio, because I heard him tell somebody, "Call an ambulance and the police," as the lady was still unable to talk, doing nothing but whimpering and continuing to clutch her arm. The other guy said, "Don't move," and ran off somewhere. A few minutes later, some cops show up. One takes me down the aisle and asks what happened. I saw B going several feet in the other direction with another cop, while a third was crouching down around the lady. A few minutes after that, the EMTs show up with a stretcher and do some EMT things, ultimately putting on the stretcher. I was not paying too much attention as I was still talking with the cop, who, among other things, was writing down my name and address from my license. B was still with another cop, deep in conversation. I was vaguely aware of the stretcher being pushed down the aisle and heard the cop, who had been with the lady, say something about cameras to one of the cops who ran up originally. A few minutes later, the cop who was grilling me said I was free to leave. B was still talking with the other cop. I started to walk towards him when my cop told me, "No, you should go that way," and pointed down the aisle away from the other two. I did not argue. Near the exit at this particular Wally World was an establishment that sold underground mass transit faux sandwiches. I was hungry, so I did the obvious. While eating, I saw one other cop walk through the doors and head off in the general direction of the beer aisle, but other than that, just a steady stream of oblivious customers streaming in and out. Black Forest ham with double meat, mayo, cheese, pickle, tomato, salt and pepper later, along with 3 Cokes and a double chocolate cookie, I got a call from B asking where I was. Told him I was in the underground mass transit franchise at the doors and he said he would be right up. And who can guess what establishment/franchise that was? Tell me in the comments. I saw him going through the checkout line with the beer and pork rinds, priorities right, and then he came over to me. I was ready to go, but he wanted his own underground mass transit meal, so I got a refill on my Coke and waited. He told me that the cops kept asking him questions, took down his contact information, then one came back and then 2 others went with that manager type guy for several minutes, then they came back and talked among themselves for a while. Called somebody else, then told him he was free to go and that somebody would be in touch within a few days and make sure he answered/returned their call. As far as I know, nobody has called him yet. He's still annoyed over the fuss, a little anxious about not knowing what is happening or going to happen, but cannot do anything about it besides wait. Meanwhile, half of the beer is gone along with all of the pork rinds. He wants me to go to Wally World by myself next time and I'm going to make sure I wear my reddest shirt when I do. Karen says my disability is offensive. Posted in r/ripe stories by u/breda66. Hello Ripe and Ripe stars, love the vids, I listen every day to and from work, and okay, I posted this before, but for reasons I would rather not get into, I removed it. But several people have asked about it, so I'm reposting. I'm on mobile and really have no idea what I'm doing, so please forgive any mistakes, let me know when you see any and I will try to edit. So first of all, I am a single leg amputee. My left leg ends about 4 inches past my knee. Around 10 centimeters for people from countries with the sense to use metric. I cannot wear a prosthetic due to balance and strength issues, so I use a wheelchair. The cast is me, just me, Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the world, Kids, yeah kids, LD, the library director, and GK, the great kid, my little hero. So I go to the library all the time, 2 or 3 times a week. The section I usually browse is for illustrated books, graphic novels and comics. It's right by the area where they have programs for kids and story time. Because I'm there so often, all the workers have gotten to know me, as have many other patrons and a lot of the kids who think my chair is really cool. On this day, I was at my usual spot, just browsing. Now it was really hot out that day, summertime in Central Texas, so I was wearing short pants and a pullover shirt. And one shoe, my stump of course, could be seen hanging out my shorts. No big deal, it's just a leg that happens to not all be there. So I'm just browsing and I can tell someone has just walked up behind me. Before I can turn, I hear,
"Excuse me,"
said in a very arrogant way. I turn and see a woman. Probably in her mid to late 30s, she's wearing a halter top that leaves a lot of her bra exposed while struggling to cover her belly. She's wearing very short denim shorts, Daisy Dukes and flip-flops. Not a typical Karen haircut though, her hair is braided in pigtails on each side of her head. Way too much makeup. She looked like she was trying desperately to hang on to her youth, but failing miserably. Me? Yes? Can I help you? I always try to be polite. Karen?
"You should not be here dressed like that. It's obscene."
I'm thinking, you're the last person who should judge how anyone dresses. But I look down in case anything was exposed. No, there's not. Me? There's nothing wrong with how I'm dressed. Karen?
"Yes, there is. People can see that."
Points at my stump.
"It's disgusting."
Me? It's just a leg. It just happens to be shorter than other people's. Karen?
"It's repulsive. There are children here. Seeing that could traumatize them."
Me? They don't care. Unlike you, they are intelligent enough to know there's nothing wrong with being different. Karen.
Don't talk to me that way. You have to leave now.
Me? No, I don't. Now leave me alone. Karen.
You get out of here before I get them to throw you out.
Me? No, I have every right to be here. Now back off. By this time, it had gotten loud enough for others to hear. The library director, a very sweet woman who is over in the children's area, has heard and walks over. Some of the kids also follow, but not too close. LD. I'm going to have to ask you both to please keep it down. What's happening here? Me? She wants me to leave because I'm missing a leg. Karen.
Look at him. It's obscene how he's dressed to just show off his deformity.
LD looks Karen up and down. Ma'am, he's dressed far more appropriately than you. Please move away and stop harassing him. Karen.
Not until he leaves. He has no business letting these children see his damaged body. It will disturb them.
GK, a little girl who knows me, we talk comic books a lot, yells out, No, he's fine. You're the one that disturbs us. Me and the other kids laugh. Even LD has a grin on her face. Karen just grimaces. LD pulls out her phone, dials and speaks to someone. I have a situation in the storytime area. Please come now. She looks at Karen. Security is on their way. Leave or you will be charged with harassment. Karen.
I don't have to leave. That does.
Points at me. Then the kids get excited and start pointing. We look and see a policeman making his way towards us. The library security is a police officer. LD goes to talk to him and points at Karen. Karen just turns and waddles away as fast as she can. The kids are all laughing. The policeman follows after Karen. LD comes over and apologizes for what happened. I told her she had nothing to be sorry for. The world is full of idiots like that. All we can do is deal with them when we have to. After that, some of the kids took turns pushing me while I browsed the other shelves, and me and GK had a nice chat about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She's a big fan. Later LD let me read a story to the kids. A pretty good day at the library. I found a few days later from LD the policeman did catch Karen and got her name. Her library card was revoked and she has been banned from the library. Thanks for reading. Honestly, the only obscene thing in that story was Karen herself. And it's great to see kids who are so supportive and so mature actually, more mature than Karen. But anyway, that's all the content I got for you today. Thanks to everyone first and foremost who posts on r/ripe stories. I love all your stories. But as you might know, starting this Friday, so that is tomorrow, I will be on vacation for 3 months. But that doesn't mean that I will stop making videos. Until 31st August I already recorded all the videos, so that means until end of August I unfortunately cannot read any of the new stories on r/ripe stories. But after August I will read your stories again, don't worry. And since I am on vacation, visiting my girlfriend by the way, I probably won't be able to respond to comments as much as I usually do, so please keep that in mind. Even after my pre-recorded videos run out, so after August, I will still try to upload daily. We will see how it goes. So I hope you have a fantastic day and I see you again tomorrow.